Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, Podcast Pete and lifestyle coach. And when we talk about lifestyle, you better know how to leverage time in today's fast moving world. And technology is changing, the world's changing. And if you don't put a premium on your time, your competition will, and that could be detrimental to your business. So our guest has a new technology. We're going to be talking about his story and why it makes so much sense for our business owners. So Matt, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into the podcast.
Matt Holman, originally from Washington State, moved to Arizona. Basically, I've been in sales for 32 years. I've seen all different types of things, and I'm resistant to tech, just like everybody else. But right now, I work for a company. Actually, believe it or not, I was in the banking business forever, and one of my employees had opened this company. And I was in the car business at the time, and he said, "Do you really want to keep selling cars 7 days a week and 3 holidays a year?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Come work for me." I said, "Well, what are you doing?" And he told me what he was doing, and I said, "Okay." And as I gave it time to think about what it was, I said, "Ringless voicemail." He goes, "It's been around. We created and started the platform in 2016. We kind of played with it, didn't really do much with it, but now it's advanced so far beyond." And I said, "So you could do this." Everything I had a question about, he was like, "Yes, you can do that. Yes, you can do that." So I was kind of intrigued by it. And then I'm really an innovator when it comes to businesses and helping create different avenues where people would go, this is fixed. And I say, no, in between that fixed and fixed, there's another avenue you can take. And it's just I just open the minds to people to certain things and say, it is possible to do this. And so now I work for a company called JDI, Just Deliver It Ringless Voicemail Service.
I know when we talked initially and you explained a little bit, the light bulb went off. And just to the point that I believe in personal connections, and I try to make 5 meaningful conversations every afternoon because I kind of manage my inner energy level. And when I'm talking to people, it generates more. My question is, like, when you first started putting your time into this new technology, tell our viewers, like, what were you hearing from people who were giving some feedback to you? Because I have my own story, but I just wanted you to share a story about what kind of impact is it making out there.
So are we talking about results from or just apprehension to?
Yeah, well, I think results from. Okay. There's always that apprehension to anything new, and that's a separate conversation. But just results and what the reaction was.
There's 4 forms of marketing customers that's out there. So you have your mailers, you have your emails, you have your text messaging, and then you have your ringless voicemail. And before, everybody's tried those first 3. They've all done them. They sent text messages. The problem is technology is in the way. It does help us, but it also hinders us. So carriers, for example, if they see a phone number dialing 5 phone numbers, it's not even in their algorithm to pay attention to it. But if they see it dial 500,000 numbers, they're paying attention to that number. So they intercede and stop you from doing what you're doing, which is marketing with that number, and they figure out a way to stop it and warn the customers. So this leads into complaints or things that we've seen. So you have to have tools to circumvent or figure out ways to get around. But a lot of the times people are like, I didn't get a good response. I didn't get enough people to come down to it. And as I started digging more and more into this, the objections that people had were easily explainable based on, tell me your scenario, let me go look you up, let me go find out what it was, and I'm going to do my homework. I'm not just going to give you a retort because I think I know the answer. Because every business owner and every business's target and approach is different, but they are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
The end result is we need customer engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So I go back and I listen to this particular person's voicemail, and it was very bland, and it was very, I don't want to knock it, but it just wasn't a good voicemail
Mm-hmm.
that, in my opinion, would want customer engagement. So in most messages, when you leave, when you call a family friend, like I was telling you about my grandbaby, I called my mother. She knew who I was, so I didn't have to introduce myself. And I gave her this. When you get this message, give me a call. I want to talk about it. Okay, so that message was received through my excitement, and obviously it's my mom, but she called.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea behind when you use a service like Ringless voicemail. You have to have a good list of customers to call. You have to know your target market, and you got to be able to relate to people on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
See, an email is not personal. You can type it to be personal, but it's how it's read.
Mm-hmm.
So the psyops of this is when I drop a voicemail in somebody's thing, this is a psyops game. If I don't see Pete, okay, I don't see you, I'm trying to figure out what you look like. That's just who we are, human nature.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
trying to put a voice and a face together
Yep.
from all the people we spoke to in our entire life to see if we could come up with what you look like. So the psyops of that is the personal side. It becomes personal, your voice, your message in there. That has more customer engagement than a text or an email, but those are both still good tools. People say, I've tried text and I don't get good results. Well, this isn't a text. Well, I've tried emails and I didn't get good. This isn't an email. This is your voice leaving a message that your inflection in your voice and how you're leaving the message is going to attract somebody. Not 100%, but it's still going to attract somebody. So my point was, going back to your question, one of the complaints I get is I didn't get a good response. I didn't get, the engagement that I wanted, and I could easily go through and pick it out. Or then I'd go through and say, well, your list was a bunch of people from 5 years ago, and you shouldn't be calling them to begin with, because the numbers change.
Mm-hmm.
Voicemails and everything, it's all different. So the results are what people want. And this does have the highest result rate, anywhere from 10 to 35% on voicemails dropped, get a response. So that's a good scenario.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I want to, we've done it twice. So we always test things.
Yeah.
So I call people to get feedback and ask questions, but it's time consuming.
It is.
And so when we did the first one, I was kind of like I'm leaving the voicemail. And it's like, I thought about it as when I did my first podcast 4 years ago, I was forgetting things, dropping things. It was it's kind of like riding the bike for the first time.
Yep.
You're awkward. You figured it out. Well, the second one I did, all of a sudden my phone starts to blow up, where people are calling me back, and I didn't know what to expect, but they were saying, sorry, I missed your call.
Yep.
And I wasn't interrupting their day by dropping the voicemail of my voice. They know me. We don't send it to anybody that doesn't know me.
Yep.
But I want to get to them to connect and let them know how they can help themselves. So I now told Rolando from 3 to 5, and then I just sit back and I can receive the phone calls that come in, because we've always said that people have to be interested in you to want to go further. If you're not interested, like sometimes you'll go to a meeting and people say, well, Matt, what do you do? And 10 minutes later you're talking. And they're not interested.
Nope,
but you
tuned out.
think they are, because you're excited about what you have. But if somebody can't build curiosity, like to say what they're, we help companies that want to increase their demand, do it through podcasting and getting to know people, if somebody doesn't say, tell me more,
Yeah.
I don't say anything more. I say in about 15 seconds, and if they're not interested, it's over.
Okay, so
I'll ask them a question, but
yeah.
yeah. So what I think I love about it, and I just wanted to tell you my personal experience is, I don't like interruptions. I went and got a quote for a Tesla, and I have an agent that I deal with, but I wanted to see what competition is, how competitive it is, because it's changing, the EV.
Yeah.
So I put my name in this one search. I got 100 texts, emails, blew my phone up.
Yeah.
I'm going like, they say, I'll call you back. I'll call you in a few minutes, or call me. I mean, that's interrupting my day. Totally blew up. I didn't want 100 people,
Calling
after
you.
me. So you
Yeah.
gotta understand people's time. So when you talk to people, give our viewers an idea of the time saving that you have seen, that what Texas is interrupting me.
Yes.
Your voicemail is your voice in my voicemail. That's not interrupting.
No.
So kind of talk about that, because I
Okay.
think our viewers want to know how they save time and what technology is accomplishing that.
So I'm going to touch a little bit on what you said about interruption. You're correct. If I'm going into a board meeting and I'm not expecting your call, your text, your email, and you give it to me, and my mind is, I got to make this presentation, I got to do whatever, I've got this assignment I have to finish, whatever it is, when you answer that phone, when you respond to that text, I don't have to worry about being rude to. I'll just type stop, or I'll delete it. Emails, I'll look at it, trash it. But if I call and you answer the phone, you might be in a bad mood because you weren't expecting me, and timing is everything. So we want to take that equation off the table. You've called somebody and goes, look, this is just a bad time right now. I'm about to go into a meeting. You know what? Just call me later. And when you do call them later, they never answer, because they just have it set in their mind that you called them when they weren't ready for it. They don't want to hear your pitch. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to hear what you have to offer. But on Ringless voicemail, when it doesn't ring and it goes in and it says, you've missed a call and you have a new voicemail, I'll get to that when I need to. I'll check the voicemail. I just had one from a lady yesterday she's a realtor. She does great business with us. She had a customer, and we can track them. She had a customer call her back from a campaign she ran in November. I pulled up her report and I sent it to her, and I said, look at this. Today you spoke to somebody with a 402 area code. I said you spoke to him for 367 seconds, which is how we time it. And I said, but that was from your campaign on November. And she's like, are you kidding me? I was wondering why they called me out of nowhere. But that's when they got to it. I mean, that's when they go, oh gosh, I got to call these people back. See, it's on their time, not on your time. Excuse me. So these Ringless voicemails, when they get dropped in there, with that timing issue that you said, but the customer response, I think that was your next question, or what was it? Yeah. So customers, when they respond, you have two ways. One, they immediately call back because they got that missed call. They immediately call back. And you say, oh yeah, you're giving me a call back about the message I left. Oh, I didn't listen to the message, but okay, I'm in. We're talking. Go over the message, do whatever. And other people listen to the message, and then they say, yeah, could you explain a little bit more about what you said on that message? Those are the people that are interested. Okay? The people who aren't interested are going to turn around and either ignore it, delete it, or spam it. Okay? And then you don't have to worry about them. But if you're getting a response, that's the opportunity. And we can only do so much. We can bring them to the door. You got to open it. So that's our job, is to bring customers to their door and get customer engagement, the response from the customer.
Yeah, I love the idea that you got to respect people's time.
Absolutely.
And so many people don't, and they
Yeah.
interrupt you, like you just said, and they wonder why you're angry.
Yep.
And the one thing I want you to kind of touch on is we believe in not letting people forget about us. So, a raving fan, the fire can go out if you do not have any engagement with them over a period of time. People say, well, I get all my referrals from my old customers. I say, well, how many times do you make contact with them? Oh, I haven't talked to them in years. And do you think they really remember you? And it's like, well, maybe not. But if we're not constantly reminding people, they forget you. They got a lot of things going on.
Life
And
gets
I
in the way.
think referrals is a good thing, but you got to stoke the fire. You can't just let the fire just burn out. What do you see that customers have used that ring? I call it ring drop.
Yeah.
I mean, voice drop.
Yeah.
What do you see? Do you see people staying in touch with their clients so they don't forget about them?
Yeah. So you're touching on things where the creativity of the person using the service gets to. Okay. So we have people that only contact their customers. That's it, because they have such a large database of customers. But I'll give you an example. I had a guy he's in Beverly Hills. He has a auto repair shop, but he does high-end cars. And this was in November, right before Thanksgiving. And he called me and was just curious about the business and what we did. And then he was like, okay, let me think about it. And I said, absolutely. Give me a call with any questions. You get creative. Give me a call up till 10 o'clock at night, and I'd love to hear what you're thinking. The next day he called me and he said, so let me ask you this. Could I use this to contact all of my customers and just wish them a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays? I said, absolutely.
Wow.
And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, absolutely you can. You could remember, you're creating a message and downloading it to the system that will always be there unless you delete it. So you could use this next year as long as you don't put a date on it. And he goes, okay. And he goes, I was thinking the reason to do this is just to let them know that I'm thinking of them. I said, but not only that, the customer on the PSYOP side of this, you ever have a friend that calls you out of nowhere and goes, hey, I just wanted to touch base with you, see how you're doing. I hope you're doing well. What's been going on? And you're like, oh God, I haven't talked to this guy forever. That's the same mentality. That's the personal side of this. When I have a client that I appreciate because they've done business with me, whether it was one time or 100 times, they still want to go, do you even appreciate that I come into your shop? Do you appreciate this and that? They're not going to say that to you, but in that manner, they think that. And when they do that, they're like, oh yeah, you know what? I need to schedule my oil change with him. And then in the message, they say, and don't forget, we work on referrals. Anybody you want to send our way, we'll give you a discount next time you come in. And boom, his phone rung off the hook. He was actually doing Habitat for Humanity, building homes in Colombia. And his phone was ringing, which was costing him a lot of money. It was ringing over there. And he's like, hey, I just got to let you know, I'm getting all these phone calls from these customers I haven't talked to in years. And I said, see, it works. And he's like, it absolutely did. One of the customers not only referred somebody to him, but scheduled his Bentley to come in. So he was just getting thank you for thinking of me kind of deals. That's how simple this could be used for.
As you're talking, I was just thinking, I have a gentleman, he's a client, and so he's been doing Medicare for 8 years and has quite a large book of business. And what he struggles with is handling the people that have been on his program, but things change. Like he needs to get the word out to people, and he sends out a newsletter. And, we get so much on the email that people don't read it.
Yeah.
But for him to leave a message about an update in Medicare and say, if this is something you need to know more about, or your situation could use this, let me know how I can serve you. Yeah. And it would be a great way for him to do, because he has, I don't know how many hundreds, but he does have a good that he can't possibly call them. But the
No.
ones that are interested, he leaves they know him.
Yeah.
He leaves that personal message. And then the ones that it applies to can call back and set up a time to come in and discuss their situation. I love that. I love that that creativity.
Yeah, and when you create a general message, remember, we're not saying, "Hey Sally, this is Pete," or "Hey Mike, this is Pete." You're not putting their first name. This message is, "Hey, I just wanted to call and touch base with you to let you know there's been an update in Medicare. If your scenario is blah, 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 I'd like to discuss it with you. I'd love the opportunity to talk it over with you. I'd love whatever. Give me a call back at this number." It's still personal. It's still personal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the thing to that is that when you do something on that level, the one that engages, you're not calling. Because here's the thing. When we send an email out, we normally put their first name in it and then do the email. And there's systems out there that can do it for you and stuff. They're a little bit more expensive than we are. But at the same time, that's a lot of effort you've got to go into, just as much as picking up the phone and calling every single one of those people to leave the same message over and over again. So for example, I can dial 1 million calls in 1 minute. I can drop 1 million voicemails.
Wow.
In 1 minute. Before noon today, which is going to be a little bit, we'll probably have over 30 million voicemails dropped.
Wow.
So it's that fast. And here's what I say. If you came into work and said, "Oh, I got a bunch of people I got to follow up with, 4,000 or 5,000, I've got to follow up with. This is going to take a month." I can do it in 2 minutes.
Wow.
Same message. Everybody gets it. And then you wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
That's what you're waiting for. Those who are interested to call you back, you have a 3-day residual, which means people will check their voicemail within the next 3 days before Friday. They always check their voicemails before the weekend because they want to know, make sure it gets handled now. I don't want to be bothered on the weekends. So that's the residual that you see. And that's what makes this such a good tool to use when you, like you said, you sit back and you're like, "Oh my God, my phone is ringing." That's the point of it.
Yeah, there's, when I work with my clients, I always like to know what their flow is and how they prioritize things. We're all busy, but what are we busy doing? And if you're busy, doing things that don't give you the value you can transfer to your clients, you're not going to grow your business, because we can work hard or you can work smart. And I think what happens in a lot of times, technology slows people down. So let's talk to our viewers, like, how easy or how do we implement it? I'm a business and I have a couple thousand clients. I don't see them every month, but I want to make sure that I connect with them. How do I get started?
Okay. So I want to cover 2 things with that. Existing clients.
Yes. Existing. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. So when you do existing clients, there's 2 types. There's existing clients and then there's targeted potential clients.
Okay.
So there's 2 types of marketing you can do with this. You can target, but you got to follow the rules, TCPA laws and stuff like that. Target people that have given consent or inquired about what you do, or you're in a state that says, you make sure you do the opt out no matter what. But when you target existing clients, you wanted to know how easy it was?
Yeah, just walk me through, like, how do they start, and what's the process so they can get an idea of the technology bridge that has to happen.
So for us, when you start with us, you basically create an account. You'll have access to it, we call it a portal. It's your portal. It's in your name. And what happens is first things we do is we build things like a smart pool, or we get you your DID numbers, because you don't want to use your phone number to call out to people, because if somebody's in a bad mood and they spam it, your number eventually gets spammed. Okay, that's just a precautionary, but we set all that up for you. We set up your forwarding and the calls that you want, but you would download a list of your customers through Excel into our system. Then you would pre-record as many messages as you want. You can do it through our system, or you can do it on your computer and then upload them to our computer.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's just building your campaigns. How many do you want to run a day? How many people do you want to address a day? Calling a campaign, former clients, no contact. That's your campaign. You know exactly what that campaign pertained to, and you had your target audience list for that.
Mm-hmm.
So the message is here and the list is here. Then we just build the campaign on that and send it out. The system itself will ask you, how many numbers do you want to dial per hour? So we can go down to 120, which is 2 calls a minute, or we can go up to 1 million. Okay. The business side of this, which the benefit to this is, you know what call centers are.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why call centers exist is because they don't stick with one client. They have multiple clients. So their pitch and everything changes all the time. When it's your business and it's just you and it's just your clients, you don't need to worry about that. But you don't want to have to hire somebody necessarily to make outbound calls, or you're going to have to do it as the owner, which you've got other things better to do with your time than make a bunch of outbound calls. So that's what we're doing with this, is that we're allowing these owners to say, I don't really want to staff up. I don't want to pay the taxes. I don't want to do the healthcare. I don't want to do all this other stuff, but I do need these phone numbers called. If you're not large enough for a big call center, they're not going to touch you, or if they do, they charge you way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not a call center. We're a system. It's a technology that allows you to do a little bit of work for 15 minutes once you get used to doing it, and then Rompopil, set it and forget it. Just walk away, and then the phone will start ringing.
Mm.
So you can go on with your day in your business and do this without having to do that. And that's the beauty of this. I can take somebody that, let's say somebody has a huge list, 100,000, 200,000 numbers, but they don't want them all called today. I can stretch out a campaign for them for 2 weeks, and it calls a certain number per day and shuts off at a certain time and then starts tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
Same time, start time, same end time, and keeps going until all those numbers have been called. So you're pacing the having to answer the phone. You don't have to answer, if you're one person, you don't want 5,000 people calling you back in the same day. That's you'll never get to them.
Yeah,
But
that makes so much sense that they're the ones that are interested call you back.
Yep.
And that, I kind of think I'm not a fan and never have been of the interruptions that so many people do. And, if somebody's interested, yes, I don't mind hearing about something, but let me make that decision, not interrupting your busy day with, a sales pitch that I'm not interested in. So the personalization, I love how you set it up to absolutely control that, because you're right. I've got to have the time to talk to the people.
That's the money.
Yeah. And that just is so powerful to make sure people don't forget about you, both from existing customers, clients, to new ones. Because if you can't generate if you're not generating demand for whatever you do, your cash flow's gone and your business is gone. So you have to always say, what can I do to create demand for me, that they are interested, that they're going to call looking for a solution, whatever you do. And if that is the case, your cash flow is going to grow. And if your cash flow grows, you got a thriving business. What do you say? Do you see, when you look at this next year, what challenges do you see in the business environment that you're like, okay, we can work with those kind of elements?
So are you talking about in general?
Just in general, because everybody's got to get demand for their business. What do you see happening out there that if they could look at it a little bit differently, that mindset shift, because we always have to keep our mind open to what's evolving. AI's coming in fast.
Yeah.
These businesses are changing fast. And if you're not changing, you're going to be a dinosaur in whatever you do.
So I think you're right on that. The evolving tech world, I believe that, so like AI, for example, AI is changing, but is it at its best? No. With small to medium businesses and the owners, having to learn that is not in their wheelhouse. Look, this is what I do. This is how I've made my money. This is my success. I don't want to learn this technology, but I'm not opposed to listening to somebody that can do it for me. And so I don't have to do that. I see the uncertainty in that tech world where people are still hesitating a little bit on, we're old guard. We're the old style, in sales and everything else. But if your business revolves around moving a product instead of offering a service, if you have to move a product and you want to use a tool like this or emails, you better know your target audience. And the only way you're going to do that is through social media and everything else, because people inject their interests in that. Whether you're paying for that information or you're gathering it yourself, whatever it is, you have to know your target audience. You don't just blanket an area with your message when 75% of them have no interest in what you're offering. Not only do you get a bad name, bad reputation, everything else, but you get a very low response rate. And the money you spend to do that, your ROI just dropped. So they're saying now 25 to 30% renewal every month is what you need in business if you're moving a product. So that means that you take it 100% this month, next month you're at 75. You need to add back that 25 to 30 to keep up with it. If you don't do that, then what happens is you become stagnant. You reach a certain level and you're not going any farther because you're not engaging new people and you're not asking for referrals or you're not asking for other types of relationship, networking, whatever it is. You will become stagnant. And the more that happens to these small businesses, it's like the restaurant business is a great business, but they can only hold so many people in their business. So there is a cap. So either you raise the price of your foods to capture more money, or you get to this certain level and then that's where you're going to stay. Or you open longer hours, or you offer different things. But like I said, you're always increasing, creating more work for yourself. When I have a product to move, it doesn't cost me more to move this product than it did yesterday, other than small things like transportation or stuff like that. But I have a fixed cost when I make this. So if I want to increase the sale of that and make more profitability from it, I have to be able to find a new target market that wants this product. I think people will become more aware of, I hope they do, of their target market for your product. And that's what makes you stand out. It's just who's first to the game to reach that market and target it is going to be on the top. Because again, like I said before to you, you could have the best product in the world, but if you don't know your target audience, all you have is a great product you can put on your shelf. That's it. You'll reach that stagnant point.
I love it. Terry Gibson, she's a marketer and we're friends in Rotary. She just put up there great information. I want to ask a question for Terry. So she has clients, they're after like, can we do some text marketing? And we talked about it earlier, but how easy is it for a marketer who's delivering value for her clients and to implement this so they can do what we just talked about? And Terry and I are about, we didn't grow up with technology.
No.
And I do have a team, so I lean on my team, Rolando and Trexa, to do stuff. So talk to Terry about like how easy or what would it be like for her as a marketer wanting to add value to her clients so they can increase their business. So as they increase their business, they're happy with Terry. So just speak to that. Like,
Okay.
she's a marketing company.
Okay. So first of all, when you market, again, it's target audience, knowing the target. But now you have to have an arsenal of tools. If you don't have the tools in technology to utilize and capitalize on the results, what happens is that you're relying on an individual person to do the work for you. So if I can schedule my day to, let's say, use a voicemail, drop a voicemail, but then 2 days later, send that email, and 3 days later, send a text, I'm utilizing all the tools to hopefully have customer engagement. If I'm only using one tool, which is me picking up the phone, it makes it difficult. That's why using Ringless voicemail, if she were to do this, she would create her account, she would get everything set up, she'd have a series of messages. One is the introductory message of who she is. So there's 3 parts to a message. Introductory, we call it the baby, the information in the middle, and then the call to action at the end. What you're asking them to do, whether it's call a phone number, whether it's visit a website, which is trackable because you're increased foot traffic to the website.
Mm-hmm.
So you do that. You don't call them again the next day and the next day and the next day. You're not going to earn clients. You're going to burn clients. They don't like that. So what you do is you do that, then you do the reminder, whether it's an email and then a text, and then maybe another voicemail saying, hey, sorry we haven't connected. I'd still love the opportunity to work with you and show you this, whatever it is. I'd love that if you could give me a call and we could set up a time that works best for you. Done. Be the 4th one. If they don't engage on that, we move them aside for a while, because they've gotten a text, they've gotten an email, and they've gotten 2 voicemails dropped. They haven't responded to any of them. Okay. You're either catching them at a bad time, they're completely not interested, or as soon as they get solicitations, they delete them. Okay. I will reattempt them a month from now, just to try and go in and go at it. But for Terry, it would be making sure, because these tools you use, it's time. Time is everything. Okay. We call it a time vampires. They just suck the life out of you, because if I'm going to make calls, guess what my day is? I'm focused on calls.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to send emails, my day is focused on emails. But if we have a system that does it all for us, so I spend an hour in my day getting everything set up and then hit go, the rest of my day, I can do the follow-ups to the personal people that did reach out before, and talk to them and build a relationship and get things going again. I think follow-up is the biggest mistake that people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
If you called me, Pete, and said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about this, and I reply back to you, I'll get back to you. Then you don't hear from me for 2 months. You've moved on. I've forgotten. You may have searched for somebody else to do what you asked me about.
Mm-hmm.
So follow-up is important, setting tasks and being able to complete till you get a yes or a no. And that's the end goal. If it's a no, don't take offense to it. Business is business. It's not personal. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing that we do, is we try and utilize all the tools. For somebody who's in marketing, utilize all your tools, get it done early, so you are free to do stuff. If you have nothing to do, find more tools. It's work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
The tools are there. Use them.
That's really good. Thanks for that. I want to be respectful of your time. So how can people get a hold of you?
They can send me an email, matt@justdeliverit.net.
Okay.
They can send it there, or they can call me. My number to the office is 480-805-5116. They can call directly. Even if I love answering questions. If you ask questions, that means you have things going on in your head. It may or may not fit for you, but at least you're asking and you're not leaving the unknown. We can answer the questions and see if it targets what you're looking for. If it doesn't, then no big deal.
Awesome. One more question.
Yeah.
What would be the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
I'm assuming most of these people are business owners that are
They
on
can
here
be.
or in business for themselves. And the one thing I'd say is business owners and people that are entrepreneur-like mentality are a different breed of people, because they're willing to take risks. If you're willing to take a risk and get into business or work for a buddy or do whatever else, half the battle is done. It's how you capitalize on the other half that makes all the difference in the world. So there's going to be a risk. There's going to be failure. All of that's out there. Don't be afraid of it. It's on the side back there. Fear stops you in your tracks. I would say go for it. It doesn't hurt to try something. If it doesn't work or it's not for you, move on. It's not hard to go out there. You will find and perfect your perfect way. And once you do that, it's insane because you're so much more relaxed. You've figured it out. The hard part is just making that next step.
Awesome. So, and Terry said that was very helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
And thank you, Terry, for, asking that, to being a part of this. I appreciate it. And hopefully Terry's she's creative. Like, we love each other because we're creative. We always have that marketing going and we're thinking of things. And so hopefully we got all your questions answered, Terry. Thank you so much for listening. And if you know of anybody that you think you need to share this with, because you never want to be a best kept secret in business. So not knowing what's out there can really, it won't benefit you. See if this will work for you. And if it is, get a hold of Matt, talk to him, see how it can work for your business, because we want you to have a vibrant and a bright business by knowing what tools, what people and what individuals can help you accomplish that. So Matt, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being